Leave a legacy behind, not a liability.
Be transparent so others can be transformed.
Problem solved because we stand on business.
Welcome to Passive Wealth Conversation.
Welcome to another episode of Passive Wealth Conversations. I am your host, your girl, Queen Red.
And I am your host, Coach Kisha. Look, I almost forgot my name. Coach Kisha.
And the problem we are going to be solving today, we're going to be addressing is lack of growth and exposure due to a deficit in business relationships. That's a mouthful, y'all.
It is.
But this episode is to address the deficit in business relationships.
Yes. I think that your growth depends on relationships in business. You can't be in business and not develop any type of relationship. You can't be in business and the whole community don't like you. I'm just saying. You just can't. Like, you have to partner up with somebody. Like, I'm from the age of, and I'm not even going to say I'm from the age, I was going to say I'm from the age of word of mouth. But the truth is, social media is still considered word of mouth as well.
It is.
But we do more social media now than ever, right? And so we have to learn how to build those connections and relationships, because that's what's going to help our business thrive the way that it needs to be. And you have to make sure that you're doing the right thing in those relationships, which is having integrity. That's a big word. That's a big word for a lot of people. Most people say they have integrity and they don't, child.
So let me. I think of immediately an employee I used to have, and you go through the job interview, you do the, figure out who you hiring, but you really don't know the person.
You don't.
Until they come on board. And then you start seeing how they work. You start seeing, and there's a lot of things I don't even, worry about. I like to get down to the meat and potatoes of who the person is. Mm-hmm. I had this, I call it a toxic old saying, because I was an old school, I call myself old school NCO, which is cover down. Like, I am big on cover down, especially if you're working as a team, because that one person on your team can bring the whole team down. Mm-hmm. And this one particular employee did not have integrity. And when I'm saying integrity, it wasn't like he was a compulsive liar or nothing like that. He just lacked the accountability to know what he was actually doing and how it was impacting his relationships with his coworkers. And I think oftentimes people overlook that integrity of knowing who you are as an individual and what you contribute to the people that you're working with. That's a huge deficit, because some people are just trifling.
I love that word.
I know you do.
That's my favorite word. You ask my kids,
Trifling.
I'll call you trifling in a minute. My kids be like, if you call anybody trifling, that is just like the low of the low. Don't let my mama call you trifling. Baby, you're trifling. Okay. Right? So let's start off with, first of all, let's give you the definition of a deficit. Yes. A deficit is a lack or shortage of. Okay, so a lot of times business owners wonder why they're not growing. And one of the main reasons is because they don't have business relationship. I remember at one time when I was growing my coaching business, Coaching Your Greatness, and my 3 pillars are build, grow, and maximize. So if I'm teaching or coaching my clients these building principles, then I also too have to be doing the same thing. So in this period of time in my business, I was in a growth phase. And so during that phase, I was like, you know what? I got to get out in the community, because I am a introvert extrovert. Yes. I'm an extrovert when it's time to have fun and party and stuff like that. And even when I'm partying, I'm an introvert. Don't dance with me. Don't grind on me. I'm a solo dancer. Okay, this is a solo. Do not interrupt. Right?
I love it.
So I was like, I cringed at the fact that I had to get out and network with people, because I just don't like it. But I promise you, from the previous year to that end of that year of that growth time frame, I had made more money than I did in all my years in coaching your greatness business, right? And it was all due to business relationship, because at the time it was a deficit in my business relationship for my business. So I had to get out into the community, start networking with people and different things. But like we was talking about earlier, we have to have that integrity, because that's what keeps us in business and having good, prosperous business relationship. Because just like the employee, you didn't know who they was. They was fudging, being a fudging entrepreneur. Go see the other one and you'll catch the inside joke.
That's gonna be a t-shirt.
Yeah, a fudging entrepreneur. And so people don't know you. You know, you exchange business cards or, you know, exchange contact, and you're like, okay, let's do business later down the line. And then as you begin to know people in business, you have to maintain the relationship. And then a lot of relationships fall apart because one party lacked integrity. So that integrity is very, very important. And if you don't know what integrity is, let me go ahead and give you that definition, okay? Because we want to make sure y'all know what we're talking about. We don't want to be talking over your head. That's right. So integrity is the quality of being honest and being strong, having strong moral principles and moral uprightness. Now, I'm not naive. Everybody have their own moral principle. True story, and then you could take the floor. I had a family member. I had started a restaurant, and I was trying to get different family members to help me out. And this particular family member, they don't have a lot of integrity, but I was desperate, right? And in my prayer time and meditation, the God ain't had to tell me. I knew not to hire this person. So it came down to where I'm talking to the individual. I'm like, yeah, I really need help, blah, blah, blah. Can you help me? And it was like, yeah, I help you. But just know I might take some stuff every now and then. And I said, you know what? That's all right. Don't even worry about it. Oh, God, I'm hurting. But the crazy part is, they are thieves. That's just the truth. They are like that. And they do lack integrity, because they're not going to be honest. They're going to always, do everything under the table. But I was desperate and I didn't hire them. But it was a learning lesson. Like, bruh, like she literally had to just say it out of her mouth for me to really get it and say, okay, Kisha, don't fool with that. Let that go, right? So we definitely have to understand the people that we're working with, and then also know if they don't have integrity, that's not somebody that you need to deal with. And some of us learn it the hard way, unfortunately.
Yes, but see, that's why I go back to my favorite word, which is lifestyle. And that was another part of me working in corporate America, where I would get sick because my nervous system was not feeling safe in the environment I was, because I couldn't trust nobody. That's a real thing.
Yeah, that is.
Like, I could not trust nobody. It wasn't my team members. It was the more higher authority of, I can't trust what you say. I have to wait to see the fruits of your labor, because all this was all talk and no work. So it's very important. But I wanted to read some statistics to you all really quick. This was on Forbes. It's an article. We'll share the link in our YouTube caption there. But it says it gave like 30 points about the statistics for small business, and it goes well with what we're talking about today. I'm only going to read like 4. It says almost all businesses across the U.S. are small businesses. Nearly half of all U.S. employees are employed by a small business. Over 8 out of 10 small businesses have no employees. Just 16% of small businesses have 1 to 19 employees. And then it gives like this chart of different percentages it has. And I wanted to share those because one of the things I used to teach when I started my credit repair business back in the day is the fact that most small businesses don't last past 2 years because they run out of capital, they run out of money, and more times than often it is a deficit in business relations.
Yep.
People say, okay, well, I want to go to the bank, I want to do this, get a business loan. And more times than often, I've learned from you that you don't always have to do things traditionally to obtain good business relationships. So, another deficit in business relationship is the deficit of not knowing.
That's a fact. Yeah. That's a fact.
That's a huge deficit.
Yeah.
Because guess what's going to happen? That integrity that you might not be aware of, that's blatant or whatever the case is, someone's going to upcharge you on that lack of what you don't know.
Mm-hmm. How this ignorance is bliss, but it can kill you.
Yes, it can.
It can hurt you.
I read something too about the ignorance. It says ignorance also dictates your place in society.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because you don't know. What you don't know, you don't know. And you just out there lost.
You know?
Right.
And these are real things, you know? So the other thing that we had wanted to mention about when it just comes to growth in the business is avoiding overpricing and under delivery, and don't sell yourself short. I think we both can talk to that like a lot.
Yeah.
I've
always underpriced and over delivered. That was my problem. That's why I said, but don't sell yourself short, because we got people out there that be overpricing and under delivering.
And that goes back to the type of entrepreneur they are.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It goes to, because one of the things I said on one of the podcasts was one of my principles is heart over wallet. When it was wallet over heart, hear me, I was more concerned, because I was a people pleaser, about what someone else had in their wallet and if they could afford what I want to do. So what I would do is I would devalue my price,
right? Because
I didn't think that they could have it. So what I was really doing was devaluing the both of us.
Exactly.
And I didn't even know it at the time. You know what I mean? And because of that, I never got that amount. And I even heard business owners say, I'm scared to charge that much.
I've said it. I've said it a lot of times.
Pay me.
I know, right? Because the truth of the matter is, we have families.
Yes.
And that's just what it is. You're in business to make money, not to give away service. That's a charity.
You know, I was
and they still got to get money.
Look, I was talking to my business coach when I was driving down here from Austin, and she always got some words of like wows. And one of the things that she often says that I say a lot too is, the deficit of business relationships is someone disturbing your peace that you have built for your business. Yeah. And that goes back to you understanding who you are. We're going to talk about this more in the next episode, but that's important, because when you have integrity with yourself, you know how much you are able to do when it comes to your relationships with other people. And going back to emotions as well, having integrity, I used to tell people all the time, certain clients, hey, your emotions is costing you, because you have people who would get super excited about certain opportunities and volunteer themselves for work that has not even been done yet. And then when you get back to the drawing board and you look like all the work you got to do, the question is, who's going to do all this work?
Who's going to do all the work? Exactly.
That's a whole deficit. And that's why, I take a pause at really assessing where I'm at, if this person has integrity, and being what they said. You taught me this too. Quick to fire, slow to hire. Yep. Is that it? Yep. Quick to fire, slow to hire.
Yep.
Because it's going to come times where, in order for you, did I say right?
Yeah, quick to fire.
Yep.
Yeah, quick to fire, slow to hire. Yeah.
Yes. Because it's going to come times where that has to be done.
Yeah, it does.
that alone, that deficit that makes I have to get rid of somebody, it might be a positive in your business.
Yeah. And I picked that principle. I can't remember where I read that at. And when I read it, the way that the guy structured it, he was basically just like, don't waste your time. You already know this person not gonna work out. Case in point with the restaurant situation. You already know. So why are you prolonging the inevitable? Fire quickly and let's get the next person in so we could get this thing going. But just pick going back to the overprice and under deliver. I feel that a lot of times people are trying to make all of their money off that one product or that one service and that one client. You can't get rich off of one person. All your money don't come from that one person. I tell my clients all the time, quit charging people based on your bills. Like, I'm not trying to pay all your bills. Don't be charging me your mortgage and electric bill because you behind. Charge me what you supposed to be charging me and do the work. And that's where a lot of people get caught up in accepting things that they know they can't do, know they don't have the time to do. I had that issue. I understand. And it's not necessarily that they are not delivering, what's the word I'm trying to say? They're delivering a product or service, and it's not that they're not capable of delivering a proper service or product. It's just that a lot of times entrepreneurs take on more than what they need to, like you said earlier, because they're trying to make the money that they need to make. You're not going to get it all in that one time. So you need to pace yourself, align your business with your lifestyle so that you don't be in that particular deficit in relationship. Because let me tell you something, you lose clients like that.
Yes, you do.
You lose clients
and get a bad reputation.
And that's it. You get a bad reputation.
That's a huge deficit.
Because word of mouth spreads very quickly. And a negative word of mouth will spread faster than anything positive.
I'm glad I've never had that experience.
Man, I don't know if I have or not because people don't usually tell me.
But
I don't recall like somebody saying, "Oh, I had a bad experience with Kisha."
Same here.
And then, because I always try to have integrity.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Even if I cannot do it, I'm gonna say something. Hey, such and such happened. This is what it is. Do I need to give you some money back or whatever? Because I think that's why I do have a lot of positive relationships with people in business, because I do my absolute best to have integrity. So
no, that is very important. I've had one person tell me that they like doing business with me because they don't have to worry about a bad reputation. And I was new in business. That was a couple of years ago. Matter of fact, this was brother Rod Duckett.
Oh, okay.
Yes, when I was doing poetry and credit repair and all bunch of other stuff. And he had say that to me. He's like, I appreciate you because you don't have to worry about, your name being spread. And at that time, I didn't realize that people's names get, like, you do business like that, and the people know about it. Like, I couldn't even sleep at night knowing that I've done somebody wrong.
Me either. I can't do it.
That is a huge deficit in business, because depending on the type of entrepreneur you are and what you do give to the community, that can really sever the community or grow it.
Yeah, I agree.
You know,
for sure.
And that goes into the last one, which is my favorite, is being accountable. Being accountable.
Be accountable, people, to yourself and to others. So I had this experience with this contract. Actually, I had experience with a couple of people, and I try to always be a teacher first.
You do.
I really do. Because I want to see people win. Like, I honestly do want to see people win. But if you play with me, then I'm going to have to treat you like a you-know-what in the street. I have to treat you like, But anyway, going back to the story. So the person, they owed me some money. Well, they were supposed to do a job. And they went like days without letting me know what was going on with the job. And so I kept calling them. No, the phone calls wasn't going through. I was leaving messages. They wasn't returning it. And I'm talking about, I was like getting really fed up. Like, I'm going to cut this dude tires. Seriously. And so what happened was the person ended up calling me, and I was mad, you know what I'm saying? But when they called me, they explained the situation or whatever. And I was like, look, regardless of the fact, we live in 2024. This is the 20th century. There's too much technology in the world for you not to have found a way to get in contact with me, knowing that, one, you got my money, and two, you owe me a job. Right? And so he apologized. And so I use that as a teachable moment, because he is a new business owner. And I said to him, I said, look, if nothing else, be accountable. I said, if you know you couldn't do the job, call, say something, tell the person, let them know. Most times people are very understanding. You may get some jerks here and there, but if nothing else, call. Have that communication, open the dialogue, and that's what makes your relationship stronger, is when you open that dialogue and you communicate with people to say, hey, this is what's going on. I'm not able to deliver this product or service because of X, Y, Z, and then work something out.
Yes.
But if you just ghosting people, then nobody wants to deal with that.
Nobody. And it just leaves it up in the air as to why, like what's going on. There's just too many undetermined things there. You know, one of the things you said that had me think about was the lack of accountability, and one of the things you teach is the lack of follow-up. That comes with accountability. You know, and that's also a deficit in business, because more times than often business owners, whether they have a product or a service, especially if you're a coach, like we're both coaches, follow-up is important. You know, but it's not just follow-up on our part as a coach, it's follow-up on the person that's engaging your product or your service to do that. More times than often, if you're not following up because you lack the accountability, because you don't have systems in place, then it's more of that person is waiting on you to see what the next move is. You know, and when you don't have the accountability to follow up or follow through, it just leaves question marks.
Yes, it does. It definitely does. And people don't want to have question marks, because this is what happens. Our imagination runs wild. And I done came up with a whole scenario of why you did X, Y, Z, and why this happened, and now I'm ready to go cut your tires.
I understand.
Do not leave it up to the person's imagination. You just can't afford that. Have the conversation. Some conversations are very difficult. You know, like I was telling the young man, I understand those money conversations is very difficult to have.
They are
difficult, but you have to also give people the benefit of the doubt, because you never know what that response is going to be. Yes. I'd rather have the conversation with you than to not have the conversation. At least, you know, we put it all on the table. Now, what becomes of it, then that's what it is. But if you're just leaving it out in the open, and you don't give no room to the enemy. You know what I'm saying? I'm a firm believer in that. Don't give any room to the enemy in any type of relationship.
No, I like that. that. I want to ask you something, but I want to readdress what the problem is. The problem for today that we're addressing is lack of growth and exposure due to a deficit in business relationships. So we've been in business for a while. Do you think someone with a bad reputation because of their deficit in business relationships can redeem themselves?
Yes.
It has to be a certain level, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I think people with bad business practices can redeem themselves. However, they cannot expect everyone to be so forgiving. I think that's the fallacy.
I like that.
That we think, oh, that happened 10 years ago. Yeah. Forget about no. You have to be accountable to the consequences. I had a friend of mine tell me this one day. She said, can't nobody get into it with you because you just don't let it go. And I said, well, what you mean by that? She said, because now that we've moved past the situation, the dynamics of the relationship has changed.
Rightfully so.
And I said, well, forgive me, because I'm not sorry, but you did that.
Yeah.
You the one that changed the dynamics of this relationship. Yes. So now you have to deal with the dynamics of this relationship. It's not my responsibility to change it, to move, because you overstepped that boundary. You did what you did. Now you could come and say, I apologize for what I did. I forgive you, but that don't mean I'm gonna pick you back up and put you back in my bosom. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You about to say something?
I was. So it's so funny you say that, because I just thought about the whole concept of relationships and growing, and the biggest deficit is, I just hear my coach saying this, you have a lot of people who forget to be human to you. Yes. You know what I mean? And when I say human to you, that means that's why you have to separate them into groups, because you have those people, if you're a coach, and this often happens with coaches, is you have friends who might call you, or you might have clients who have taken on the hat of being your friend when that's never been established. And then they want to call you and discuss your problems, and they're not compensating for you for what they're doing. And that's a deficit in the business relationship because you don't know the roles that you have to play.
Right.
And then what ends up happening is that drains you as a coach. But as you grow in business, your deficit should now decrease and it should become more of what you have for how this looks long term. So what we have integrity. If you're someone who has a bad deficit in business relationships, avoid the overpricing and the undervalue, and also being accountable to not just you, but to the people that you serve. Because that alone will keep you at a low cost. And just like those statistics I read, you can be one of those businesses who are out of business because of the lack of business relationships you have, if that makes sense.
So flip that question around. What do you think? You think somebody can bounce back from bad business practice, or?
I do. I think the same thing that you think. I do think they can bounce back from bad business practices. But I also think everything that we just addressed on the takeaways is things that need to be brought up.
Yeah, they have to go through that process.
They gotta go.
People don't want to go through the process.
You know,
they just want to hop, skip, and jump.
It's just like with even if you took business off the equation, there's still a process you have to go through, because what to say, I can forgive you, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to forget.
Right.
You know, because if the pattern is still there.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. If the pattern is there, then I have to trust.
I have to trust the person
pattern.
There you go.
Exactly. I gotta trust the pattern. I'm sorry, sir.
You know, so
you have a history of this. Yeah.
This is how FBI, CIA. This is how they profile people. Patterns. You know, so I do think people can redeem themselves, but I also think that is going to come at a cost.
Yeah, it does. I had a lady that our business relationship, I ain't gonna say the word failed, because we ended up being able to do business again, but it had to come with more boundaries, right? So we had a business relationship, and at the time I was really just doing different things, and some of it I was doing for free. Right. And that person took it for granted, and he did some shady stuff, and I was like, okay, well, the relationship was disconnected. Well, maybe about a year or two later, they came back and they apologized. And so they apologized. They were accountable to what it was that they did. And for me, yes, I accept it. Great. But I'm going to sit back and watch patterns.
Look.
Let me see if you do the same thing again. I'm not going to trust you in that area again. So now that I'm watching your patterns, okay, we can start working together, but I'm going to have to ease you on in. It ain't free no more. I'm charging you.
You heard that.
So yeah, I do think a person can redeem themselves, but they have to be accountable and honest.
And have integrity.
Yeah, and have integrity,
like
definitely.
Integrity. So we hope that this problem addressed something that you are dealing with as an entrepreneur or just as a regular person. Once again, I am Coach. Coach.
Wait, we didn't tell them to like, follow, share.
Okay,
don't forget.
Right. Yes.
Don't forget. Like, follow, share. Why do we have to remind them? Y'all already know the deal. It's YouTube.
What they say, hit the bell? That's what it is?
The notification. Yeah, subscribe, and then that way the little bell thing will ring.
If you like us, just follow us.
Just follow us.
I'm Queen Red.
I'm Coach Kisha.
Problem solved because we are standing on business.